One of the ways of becoming a resource is to have knowledge of the realtor's digital footprint and ask them about their digital footprint. So what do I mean by a digital footprint? What social media are they on? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Okay, are they on Twitter or whatever else, Instagram, and so on? And most realtors are on a lot of that. But when you mention it to them, they say, well, I'm on it, but I don't know what to do with it, and so on. But if you're a resource and you have some knowledge about it, or you can just talk about these things and help them, you now have a better chance of selling it. I mean, you really do. So it's easy to be a resource. I'm telling you, it's easy to be a resource. Let me give you an example. Facebook obviously is the biggest, okay? And more realtors are on Facebook than any other software, any other the digital type scenarios online. And I do these things to be a resource for realtors. One of the suggestions I make, and I only make suggestions, I don't tell them what to do because they're realtors. One of the suggestions I make is that they set up a subdivision page. Now, what do I mean by a subdivision page? I ask them, do you live in a subdivision? Several realtors do. Or for sure they have a client that lives in a subdivision. And I say, look, set up a page for the subdivision. I had a realtor that did that in the southwest side of Chicago. And that realtor listened to what I suggested and set up a page. You set up a page as a group on Facebook, not a business page, but a group. The reason you do that is because you can just invite in people or realtors or actually whatever you want, you can invite into that page as a group without them having to like it. So now you can get credibility right away by getting lots of people into the page fast. So let me give you an example. He did that, and then I also suggested, and by the way, his subdivision had 62 houses, and I suggested that he get a teenager or someone to run around and take pictures of the houses and get those into the page right away so that people had an interest in the page immediately. It was a closed group so that it was just for the subdivision. And what he did, he started inviting people in from the subdivision into the page. Obviously, the name of the subdivision was the page. He got 56 people into the page within the first week. And that was because most of them were already on Facebook. He just had to invite them in. Also, there's an HOA. It's easier if there's an HOA. If there's an HOA, then you can get a list of the emails from all the people in the HOA. Okay, and it's easier to get them onto Facebook. So, point being, he set that up. He then started doing posts. I suggest you do posts. And again, I'm talking to a realtor, so you're now becoming a consultant for that realtor or a group of realtors. And so he did do that. He did that. He then started posting items about the community, about the specific subdivision, and things of interest to homeowners, etc. He got a post from one of the homeowners in the subdivision that she needed a burglar alarm company because she was unhappy with her burglar alarm company. The burglar alarm company got 4 deals in that subdivision in the next 2 months. So as a result, there was a lot of activity going on in the subdivision posts, okay? The realtor happened to have a relationship with that burglar alarm company and got them the 4 deals. So the point being is now he's the realtor for that burglar alarm company. In addition to that, he got 4 listings in that subdivision page. He got 4 listings from it in the first 5 months. Not one of them was in the subdivision. They were referred. What happened was the HOA, all HOAs are usually 2 people that argue back and forth, and make no decisions, and they fight, and so on. What happened was this subdivision page became the HOA. It actually was the HOA. And people now got interested in it, active in it, and it turned out that now he was the realtor for that subdivision. Here's the next question, or the next point you can make. Mr. or Mrs. Realtor, what did that cost? It didn't cost anything. It cost 0. And guess what? I'll guarantee you that that realtor has sold other people that live in subdivisions. They can become the realtor for other subdivisions, not just the one they live in. So it becomes a huge marketing tool. You're the resource for it, okay? You're the consultant, and they've never heard about the idea. That is a help. Here's another help. I strongly recommend that the realtors begin to network with other realtors on Facebook from around the country. They don't want other realtors locally. They don't want realtors locally because they don't want competitors, okay, seeing their friends and this and that. But they can network with other realtors around the country. And therefore, I always say you never know where your next lead comes from. So networking with other realtors from around the country can be a huge thing. I'll give you an example. Here's a success tip. In 2009, things were bad, right? I set up a page on Facebook called the Platinum Real Estate Network. And I was trying to approach or get to realtors because I was going to try to sell them some of my books, as an example. And so I began to invite realtors from around the country. I got up to 300 realtors, and I set up this page, which was a group page, and started posting things of interest to realtors. They kind of looked at me as a consultant all of a sudden, and I got a phone call from a realtor in Pittsburgh. And she said, "Do you know any realtors in Ocala, Florida?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. Let me look and see. I'll call you back." So I looked on my page and I looked into the members of that group, and there weren't any from Ocala, but there was one in Destin, Florida that I knew. So I posted to her and I said, "Do you know any realtors in Ocala, Florida?" She said, "Absolutely. One of my friends has been there for 20 years. And so I put the Ocala realtor and the Pittsburgh realtor together, and they did a transaction. How about that? They did a transaction through my page. Next, I got a call from another realtor in Baltimore, outside of Washington, D.C., and she said, "I need 2 realtors in Florida. I need one, I don't remember the areas, but 2 parts of Florida." I put 2 realtors back to them. Okay, they did 2 more transactions, and now we had 6 realtors benefit from 3 transactions. In 2009, that page produced 33 transactions. Now, when I tell that story to a realtor, they begin to realize that you know what you're talking about, number 1, and number 2, that you're a resource and that Facebook does work.